Let's cut to, this is Laura Ingraham, who has, you're not familiar with her, but she is Laura Ingraham. And she can tell it like it is. This is, I don't know what she dovetails into on this, and what leads international freak out. Okay. But then the pipeline thing.
First, the democratically elected leader of Italy led to these cries of fascism from the deep state.
The deep state? The deep state? Is she just like flip-flopping deep state and Twitter in her head?
And the bureaucratic elite.
The bureaucratic elite. Oh, duh. So much fascism. Ew. Oh, Charles, if I may, hold on. Charles, we have, I don't know if you've noticed this, the Italian PM, not only is she a lady, but she's also, she's got sort of, what's that old Italian thing with the capital F that they used to, with the fat guy with the jowls who would always hold his face up to try and make his neck seem, I don't know, human. What was it called? Machismo? Fascism, I don't remember. Anyway, fascism, that's what it was. Now I remember. And she sounds, if you don't, this is a picture, if you haven't seen her before, she actually, if you know, she's actually a faith healer some of the times. I've heard this. Anyways. A terrible, terrible thing. Absolute fascism taking over Italy in our time, in present year, no less. Yes, this is me freaking out, dear. Yes, this is how freaked out I get. This is my inside. Calm down. Inside, I'm a complete disaster. I'm a mess. Yes, I'm a fiddle faddle of broken glass and ribbons. Yes, but I'm holding it together for the family. Yeah. Anyways, terrible fascism returning. Yes, he said something about families being important. It's just grotesque.
All over the other cables.
Whose cable? There's nothing on my cable, I assure you. I have it checked quarterly.
The howls were so just out there that Meloni's 2019 speech on the family, the importance of the family.
Yes, she focused on the family at some point, I think. So, right.
Was actually removed from YouTube earlier today.
Not what? Oh, dear God. Permanently scrubbed from YouTube. It's about time. They finally, I guess they got my message at YouTube headquarters, you know. I had to call them at their UN office down in the basement. Yes. I got directions from a lovely man from Minnesota. Bald fellow, old wrestler. He was in Predator. I don't remember his name. Anyways, he was lovely. Gave me directions. And so I went that person. I was like, you must take this woman's speech down and never let it go back. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. It's been up since 2019 and it must be gone.
Now, it's since been restored to you.
God damn it! I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm barely holding it together here. What does she mean? I go all the way down there. What do you mean it's back up in the same day? Terrible.
YouTube, they claim it was just an unfortunate error. Okay. And then there's...
all errors are unfortunate, or they be on purpose.
Something happening in the Baltic, right? Well, let's play out two indisputable facts. Okay. Number one, experts agree that only a government could have blown the Nord Stream pipeline.
You're... Glenn Greenwald would beg to differ. All right, be an adult. God damn it.
It couldn't have set up the explosions. Number two, the destruction represents a major setback to Russia.
I'm sorry, Josh. Be careful. Don't slip and fall. Don't bend over the zone.
Asking Europe to open the pipeline.
No. No, they weren't. Wrong pipeline.
Of course, what was remarkable is that in the day following this catastrophic and potentially escalating move.
Potentially escalating. It's been a day, been a couple days now. Terribly, this is escalating. The escalation, it's just, it's not, why is this not fucking escalating? Get me some guests on here who can escalate this motherfucker.
Was the near total silence from the United States. EU and NATO officials, silence. That was until late today.
Well, that's not fair. They were snickering. Like, do you guys know what happened to the pipeline? No. What do you mean? Why are you asking? What? What pipeline? In the Baltic Sea, the Nord Stream. I don't know. Shut the fuck up. I don't know. Hold on 1 second. I gotta call. Yeah. She's asking about the price. Yeah. I can't. I'll fucking call you back. All right. Cool. Yeah. DEFCON 1. Shut up.
A military official who refused to go on the record, of course.
Well, yeah. Because of you, not because of what he was saying.
Said not only there was no American involvement, but that there's increasing evidence that this was a sophisticated attack, adding that European allies say that the suspicion and likely culprit is Russia.
Yeah.
Joining me now, independent journalist Glenn Greenwald.
And former pornographer who had the nom de porn of Domherren or Domherren. Like he would dress up in like German Nazi-esque leather outfits and direct, and that was his nickname, Domherren. I'm not kidding. Go look up Glenn Greenwald's porn history. Hey, I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum. I just think that should be brought up in front of Laura at every guest meeting. And it should be on tape. You still want to have him on?
Whose work you will soon find on Rumble.
What a shock. On Rumble? Not on Rumble. Oh my God. All the cool kids are going there. Is he going to be sitting on Russell Brand's lap?
Glenn, that was a lot there, but your thoughts on this idea? It's been germinating for a few days.
By the way, I noticed you're broadcasting from your view over the poor areas in Brazil.
Now that Russia might have sabotaged its own inflow of money from the pipeline, blow it up.
Don't set him up. You can't, Your Honor, objection, leading the witness.
Up to play, I guess, four-dimensional chess.
How many things have been blamed on Russia over the past 5 or 6 years by the Western media, by the EU, by neoliberals and deep state operatives?
And me. Don't leave me out.
It turned out to be completely false. They even invented a conspiracy theory. You probably remember that Russia had some super secret hypersonic weapon that was causing brain damage in American.
No, the Havana syndrome. Hold on. The question wasn't whether it exists or who did it. Hold on. There you go. Let's see. Yeah, let's go back all the way to. Here's BBC 2021. Yeah. Whoops, here you go. Havana syndrome and the mystery of the microwaves. Piercing squeals, weird stuff happened to your head, making you. First time it happened was in Cuba in 2016. First cases were CIA officers, which meant they were kept secret, but eventually word got out and anxiety spread. 26 personnel family members would report a wide variety of symptoms. There were whispers that some colleagues thought sufferers were crazy and that it was all in the mind. 5 years on, reports now number in the hundreds. And the BBC has been told span every continent, leaving a real impact on the U.S.'s ability to operate overseas. Uncovering the truth now has become a top U.S. national security priority. Hard evidence has been elusive, making the syndrome a battleground for competing theories. Some see it as a psychological illness, others as a secret weapon, but a growing trail of evidence is focused on microwaves as the likely culprit. Let's see, initially a speculation the Cuban government did it with a sonic weapon. Recently, another possibility from the dark recesses of the Cold War, in place where signs of James Lynn, a professor at University of Illinois, read the first reports. Havana immediately suspected microwaves were responsible. World War II, they did this, blah, blah, blah. There was an idea that the Russians were doing it, that the Chinese were doing it, that the Saudis were doing it, that the Cubans did it themselves. There was no this like Vladimir Putin is shooting people with a space ray.
Diplomats that nobody had ever heard of before, and it turned out to be debunked even by the CIA.
Well, why would the CIA debunk a... Never mind.
Why would Russia explode their own pipeline?
Rather than venting the gas on their own soil. because it's backed up and it's not going out the German side. That's why. And they can also use it geostrategically, kill two birds with one stone.
Fine.
Kill two pipelines with one bomb.
That gives them enormous amounts of leverage. They can turn off that pipeline at
It's not on.
any time that they want, which gives them exactly the power that they most want. I don't know who did this, but what I do know is what you said, that a state could only do this, but also the U.S. has been obsessed.
Dr. Evil could have pulled this off, and I think there's enough. The Wagner Group could have pulled this off. That's not a state, but the Blackwater could have been hired. The groups that could have been hired to do this
For years, going back to the Bush administration, with trying to bully and coerce and persuade the Europeans not to buy natural gas from Moscow, but to instead buy it from the United States. Donald Trump, while he was being called a Putin asset or blackmailed by the Kremlin,
He's going to bring up the Germany white flag story.
Was one of the leaders in badgering the Germans.
Look, every time they went and met with the European leaders, his own generals were saying, if we don't get them off of Russian gas, they're going to have to wave the right flag when the Russians finally do what we know they're going to do eventually. They're going to be fucked. They're going to be the problem in this situation. And he just leverage over her.
Saying, we pay you for your defense. You should be buying natural gas from us. And now suddenly the pipeline blows up.
In an area where they'll be buying it from fucking Denmark.
In the middle of this war. And we're going to blame Russia for that. The country that has the least interest in doing it.
No, they have the single most obvious, which is vent the gas in international waters away from their own coast and their own facilities, rather than try to vent it out that way because they've lost technicians because they've sent all their able-bodied men to the fucking front.
Yeah, the leverage that they have with that pipe.
Have you seen how these guys like to smoke around munitions? You want these motherfuckers there? We're like, what are we doing today, Viori? We're letting all the gas that's trapped in Nord Stream 2 out. Oh, yeah, okay, cool. So is this the lever? Fuck off.
Pipeline is huge, as you said. And I know, Glenn, you're not going to be surprised to hear this analysis from the former CIA director, Brennan, today.
These pipelines are only in about 200 feet or so of water, and Russia does have an undersea capability that would easily lay explosive devices by those pipelines. I think this is clearly an act of sabotage of some sort, and Russia is certainly the most likely suspect.
Hey, Glenn, what has John Brennan actually gotten right in his career? Let's just start with that. What has he gotten right about China, about the espionage threats from China, all the things that happened in Iraq, Afghanistan that they did not know, did not predict? I mean, all of this.
Yeah, I mean, John Brennan was the leader of the CIA during the Obama years. And prior to that, he was a high-ranking official in the CIA during the Bush years. And that was nothing but one disaster after the next.
Yeah, except that doesn't mean he's wrong here.
Brennan is a trained liar. He's a trained disinformation agent.
So are you, Glenn.
Even though he now works in various media outlets like CNN and for NBC, where, the CIA.
See how, by the way, I want to point out, this is like stock footage, the Baltic Sea file, I guess, of the other pipeline, or that's supposed to be Nord Stream, or they're just grabbing pipeline footage, whatever the fuck. See this dude right here in the heat suit welding? If this is the Russian pipeline, that guy has already been sent to war. Thank you so much, Spicy Dragon.
They used to work hard to figure out how to clandestinely infiltrate media outlets. Now they just do it out in the open. But, John Brennan and the CIA is what...
But then if you know he's from the CIA, you can take it with a grain of salt because you know that. That's the good part of them being out in the open.
Invented the hoax of Russiagate. They're the ones that...
Russiagate. Anybody who says Russiagate is bought in on Trump was just an innocent victim. This is terrible. There's nothing there. Also, no one should ever release the grand jury testimony from the Mueller investigation. It would be terrible.
Spun all of these tales about how Russia was responsible for infiltrating the United States. And so now we're going to...
Again, that's not even debatable.
Hear from John Brennan just in a...
Carter Page worked for fucking Gazprom. 14 Gazprom, or 9, I guess it's like 9 of the 14 dudes that have died are or worked for Gazprom.
He's the one who said that the Hunter Biden laptop was
Obama. That's not how you spell biased. You left the I out.
Russian disinformation. Look at how they blame Russia for everything, and it turns out to be lies. And now,
I'm sorry, what do we blame Russia for? I mean, obviously the price of gas and oil going up because the European Union was using a lot of oil and gas, took that off the market. Sanctions will affect that. That'll raise the price. That's not necessarily blaming Russia in that situation. You blame them attacking because it was the reason for the sanctions, maybe. But that's a direct consequence of a moral action by the rest of the Western world.
now they're just going to assert this, knowing there's no evidence, hoping that Americans will continue to be gullible.
Well, Glenn, this doesn't surprise us one bit because
we only pick clips and guests that will not surprise us. That's the purpose.
We've actually been tracking what he has said and the multiplicity of lies and misinformation coming out of his mouth. It also doesn't surprise us, does it, that
us, the collective us, the Stepford wives, I think is who she's talking about.
YouTube decided to pull that Maloney speech from
and then put it right back up.
2019. Whatever you think about the speech, some people like it, some people don't. But she's new prime minister of Italy. They pull her speech. It's gotten millions and millions of
like, we're going to find out later that her party asked for it to be pulled down because it was going to be used against her. And then they're like, fuck it, put it back up.
Likes and so forth. And then they restore it later today saying, oh, it was an error. Do they have any credibility on that?
Well, she might have gotten a bunch of community strikes. That happens all the time where people just like do bully striking. And since she was just freshly there, that makes total sense. People will get in there and start fucking with people. And then it triggers an automatic pull down of the video. And then somebody reviews it and they put it back up and goes, this is an error. It just automatically did it.
Big tech is really digging their own grave, much like the corporate media did.
Yeah, the big tech is terrible. That's why you can find me on Rumble.
No one trusts the corporate media. You look at polls because they're partisan operatives for the Democratic Party, and people know they're willing to lie. Big tech is increasingly proving and announcing that the only things we permit on our platforms are things that completely align with establishment pronouncements. We saw that during COVID, the war in Ukraine.
No, we didn't.
We're seeing it now when there's the Italian people elect somebody that Brussels bureaucrats disapprove of. And as a result, you can read almost anything you want on her, and one of her videos was attacked online by a mob of bots probably and got pulled down and then put back up. Who gives a fuck? Emerging an entire new ecosystem on the internet that's devoted only to free speech and to resisting censorship demands.
Dude, he's bought into Rumble. That's what we're learning. This is like a Glenn Beck fucking clip. He's dovetailing. Rumble just went public. This fucker invested in public. If they don't mention,
it's like Google, which owns YouTube, is increasingly imposing, and everybody knows it. And I think that they're really, in a way, fueling their own backlash because this kind of repression,
no, they're not.
Tolerance for any dissent at all is something that's just.
Yes, you can't say bad things about YouTube on YouTube, especially in clips of other shows posted on Fox News's YouTube channel. Like,
just insustainable.
My free speech is being violated. That's why you can watch me on a broadcast television show that is also shown on cable and that airs online on a website that you can also go to. And then the clips are posted on YouTube and Rumble and every other site. God damn it.
Well, and I think it shows the weakness of their position because when you're confident about your views or your policies.
Yeah, when you're confident about your views and your policies, you can just say it. Yeah,
you welcome a debate.
That's right. I welcome a debate. Dinesh just won't show up for it. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I offered to watch his own movie with him and go through the whole fucking thing.
But the Democrats, sadly, and I'm sure some Republicans as well, but Democrats.
Yeah, just a couple, though.
Democrats right now seem to be running from an actual policy debate, whether it's on Ukraine or sending another $12 billion to Ukraine, I guess. We've found out that
there was by the way, a policy debate on the floor of the Congress, and then it passed, and then the money got sent. Like, there's a debate that goes on in Congress all the fucking time about nearly everything.
This week. Is there any real debate about how things...
Greg, Hal needs to debate Anna Kasparian. I don't know what I would debate her about. I would just call her out for being anti-voting. See, I'm for the stuff that she's allegedly for. I just want it to actually happen. I don't want to make a living for 10 fucking years making sure it doesn't.
Things are going in Ukraine, or are we just going to agree with whatever CNN says?
I mean,
no, of course not. We're going to agree with whatever you say, Laura.
it's the war fever that we've seen over and over. It's amazing. Once it starts, everyone's petrified of questioning it. There's
well, especially if you're in Russia, if you question it, they'll scoop you the fuck up. Here you can question it and people will call you out as a fuckhead and yell at you on Twitter. And I know it's heartbreaking. Whereas in Russia, they'll just round you the fuck up. And if you guys can't tell the difference between those two things, that's the issue. If this boils down to fucking anything, it's that this dickhead can shit all over the government, and so can she, and I can if I have a problem with it, and we can go out and march, and we can complain about this stuff, and if socially people have a problem with us, we'll catch hell for it in amongst our friends or our online friends or whatever. In Russia, you just get fucking scooped up and put in goddamn jail.
about 6 dozen or 7 dozen members of the House Republican caucus and Republican Senate caucus who have been willing to step up and say, we don't think billions of dollars should be sent to a war in Ukraine.
Yeah, we don't think that because most of our money comes from Russia through fake NRA accounts. And if he keeps losing, then we're fucked.
We have no vital interest at stake while Americans are suffering.
We have no vital interest at stake? No?
At home. The entire Democratic Party, or from AOC and Bernie to the most right wing of the Democratic Party, is completely unified. It's
weird. It's weird. Like it's almost like there's an entire spectrum of political thought that can actually work together and agree on certain principled ideas and certain work, whereas the Republicans are just kind of either not doing anything or fighting anything getting done. That's what it is. That's the two gears.
Completely unanimous in support of Biden's war policies. And again, I could accept that if there were a real debate. But if you question the claims of the CIA and the U.S. government and the EU about what's happening in Ukraine, you get
no
censored. And
okay, first of all, no, you don't. The Intercept isn't getting censored. He's going to be on fucking Rumble. He's not questioning it. I'm just asking questions. When I state that ivermectin, if you inject it into your pee-pee hole, it'll cure COVID. That's not a question, fuckhead.
As you said, that is a sign that people are hiding lies and propaganda.
So Laura's hiding lies and propaganda because she won't have people come on to debate the Dodd decision with her. Is that what you're saying? That's the point you're trying to make. I appreciate you bringing it up. That's good. That's good. That's a good point.
They don't want any dissent permitted.
Yeah, we don't want any dissent permitted. That's why you're on a national television show at fucking prime time talking about this. Fucking hell. Like this is like there's a lot of whinging on the right about free speech. My free speech is being violated. Thanks, guys. I see you. Thank you. 5 minutes. My free speech is being violated. Why? Because people are calling me names. Like, that's how shit works. Whatever happened to the fuck your feelings grow a pair crowd?
Yeah, any question turns you into a pro-Putin, apparatchik.
No. There's lots of questions that would not turn you into a pro-Putin apparatchik. The questions that are the problem are like, why are we even bothering to do this? Or, those baseline, like, guided questions, those push poll questions that Laura likes to ask.
I mean, that's the extent of the debate. Glenn, thanks. Great to see you tonight.
Hey, it's so great. It's so great. By the way, you're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide.